Welcome everyone to Living with the Times. This week's Parsha is Parshat Ekev, and there are many descriptions of the land of Israel, beautiful descriptions. And one of the verses says the following, that, and I'll read it to you in English, a land God, your God, seeks after. The eyes of God, your God, are always upon it, from the beginning of the year to the end of the year. It's an amazing verse. So let's delve into it as briefly as we can. Is that, first of all, the word for seeks, God seeks out the land, is doresh. Now this is a very, very important word because the name of the allegorical, metaphorical, parable understandings of the Torah is called midrash, from the same word, doresh, dorash. And in the system of learning, according to Pardes, the pshat, the literal understanding, the resh, remez, the hinted to or alluded to meaning, and then the daled of Pardes is Durash, is the allegorical, symbolic, metaphorical parable of the Torah. And the Samech of Pardes is Sod, the mystical, spiritual understanding of the Torah. So this word, God seeks after it, is this very, very important root. And in fact, a house of study is called a Beit Midrash, a place of seeking out God through learning the Torah. In Parshat Mishpatim, in the book of Exodus, so Rashi makes a comment in one of the verses and says that the Torah is the parable of God. Now, we just went through the system called Pardes, and of course there is the more literal, the alluded to, and the mystical, along with the drush. But Rashi says that the Torah is God's parable to the world. And in the Zohar says Israel is bound to the Torah, and the Torah is bound to God. And in another statement, the Zohar says that God, Torah, and Israel are one. So we can understand that if the Torah is God's parable to the world, meaning that there's deeper meanings and lessons to be learned, so we can also understand that the people of Israel is God's parable to the world. In other words, what happens to Israel, Jewish history, and how it unfolds in exile and redemption, and everything that the Jewish people have taught to the world, is God, in a sense, employs us, uses us as his messengers, as his example to the world. That's why Isaiah said that our task, our mission is to be a light to the nations. So this is a very important understanding of how to see Jewish history. And in fact, the Arizal, he, let's call it reframed or repackaged our understanding of Jewish history. That just like the previous world, the world of Tohu, shattered in what's called the breaking of the vessels because it could not hold the original light. And that vessels and the light scattered all over, and that this world is called the world of rectification, the world of tikkun. And the Arizal said that the mission of the Jewish people, and one of the secrets of why we ended up in exile to the four corners of the world, was to identify and gather up all of the sparks of light that have been trapped in broken vessels and bring them back to Israel, a land that God seeks out The eyes of God are on it from the beginning of the year to the end of the year. And so we just have to open up a paper and we see that Israel is always in the central focus of what's happening in the world, in our generation and in other generations. Whether it's economic or scientific or religious, whatever it is, Israel's always in the headlines. But it's been like this always. And why is that? Because the eyes of God are on it from the beginning of the year to the end of the year. God seeks out the land of Israel. God seeks the Jewish people to fulfill their mission in the world. And we could see that this is God's allegory to the world is being played out through the Jewish people and Jewish history. And so we should really contemplate this as it's such an important idea. And we can just picture that God's eyes are on the land from the beginning of the year to the end of the year. And that's why it's called the Holy Land, is because God's focus is always on it.